Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at managing or working with sheets within an Excel workbook. It's in response to some of the questions we've been receiving, and we just realised that we actually haven't done a video on sheets, so just the basics of sheets and also just some quick tips you can use when you're trying to move, copy or transfer a sheet to a new workbook. So you join us having just launched the Excel application. So all we're going to do is create a new blank workbook and go forwards. So we're just going to open a blank workbook, and you can see, complete new book. We've got book number 1 at the top here, and you can see we've got one sheet number 1. So one of the first things you will probably want to do when you've got a new workbook is you probably want to rename the sheet. So really easy to rename sheets. All you need to do is you can either right click on the sheet and you have the option to rename, which will highlight the sheet, and you can then type your preferred sheet name. Or even simpler than that, if you just double click on the sheet, then you can just type away your new sheet. Well, I'll just put called new sheet there, but we'll put it, we'll go for that title, but you can call it what you wish, and it can include spaces as well. So there we go, we've just started a new workbook and we've renamed our sheet. Also what we can do is we have the ability to add new sheets as well. So in the version of Excel using, you can see we have this plus icon here, what will allow us to insert a new sheet. If you don't have the plus icon there, you'll either have a plus, or you could also have another button that kind of looks similar to like a spreadsheet with a little star in the corner. Push that and that will create a new sheet. Alternatively, what you can do is, if you again right click, you have the option to do insert at the top, and then ignoring all the other different templates you've got available there, the first one top left should just be worksheet. So if you double click that, that will also insert a new sheet for you. And likewise with those, if you double click, you can then rename them to whatever you want. And I'll just put rename 1 and rename 2. So we've added new sheets, we've renamed sheets. The next thing we might want to do is to hide a sheet. So if we're going to share this workbook with someone, I say that lightly because if you're putting sensitive data in there and all you're going to do is hide the sheet, it's not very advisable, because the sheet is then still available for someone to access it by unhiding it, as we'll get to in a minute. But it's potentially good if you're presenting, or you've just got some information that you're referencing and you just want to put it out of the way so it's not in the viewer's eye line, to avoid confusion or for whatever matter you might wish. So if you want to hide a spreadsheet, simple, all you need to do, well, not a spreadsheet but a sheet, is you literally right click on the sheet that you want to hide, and you can just see here we've got the option to hide. So we can just click hide, and that will hide the sheet. When you want to bring that sheet back, if you don't want it hidden anymore, right click once again, and this time you can see you've got the option to unhide. Upon clicking unhide, you'll have listed all the different sheets that you have hidden if you've got more than one. All you need to do is select the desired sheet you wish to unhide, highlight it, and either double click or select OK, and that sheet will be unhidden for you. The last part with the sheets here is, as always, we get to a point where we suddenly decide we no longer need a sheet, or we might have, for many reasons that escapes our mind, but you might want to remove and delete a sheet. So simply to do is just right click and you can delete that sheet. Really important to know and to notice, if you didn't when I just done that, is upon selecting delete, there was no prompt to say to us, are you sure you want to delete this sheet? It will just delete it automatically, and there's no way to undo that change. Obviously, if you'd saved your workbook just prior to doing that, you could obviously revert back to your last saved workbook. Other than that, if you were to save this now, there's no way to get that back, as with most things really. So if you've got any data or anything within that sheet you're about to delete, just really make sure you're really happy and ready for that sheet to be deleted, and there's nothing in there you're going to lose that's important and you wouldn't want to lose. One of the other things we can have with sheets is sometimes we might want to duplicate a sheet if we're working with templates or we're just creating new versions. In order to do that, we can simply right click the sheet, and we can go to an option here called Move or Copy. If you click on Move or Copy, you can see we have some options. So we can either move our sheet towards the end, we can move it before another sheet as indicated here, or we can create a copy. So if we just click Create Copy, you can see we've now got a duplicate of the rename sheet. And if this had content in it, then all that content within that sheet, exactly all formatting, all value, everything as it was, will be duplicated in that copy. And that's a good reason actually why it's really helpful to copy in that manner, is if you've got a template sheet, by copying it, it just means that all the formatting is going to copy over and you're not having to try and copy and paste or recreate a sheet to match another one. What we can also do to customize these sheets is we can change the color. So if you right click the sheet desired, tab color, you can then select any colors in your palette, or we've got more color options available to us as well. But alternatively, once you've found one you like, you can just click that color, and then you won't notice much at first. You might see a little highlighting there, but when you click away, you can see that sheet has been colored a different color. And let's just do one more just to show that as well. So you can see you can easily recolor them. What's particularly useful if you're wanting to group a number of sheets or highlight certain ones because of a certain topic. It's also worth noticing you are able to group sheets. So if you wanted to do both of these together, you could literally click the first sheet, hold down Shift, select the next sheet, right click, and now you have the ability to either change the color for both of those sheets, so you can change them both orange, or if you wanted to, you could copy, as we just did. You can move, hide, or copy those sheets so they're both duplicated, or you could even hide both of those sheets if you wished. Once you've done what you need to do, changes wise, if you just select one of the sheets that isn't in that group, then the selection will then go away. Else, if you have got these two selected and these are all the sheets in your workbook, if you right click, you can see you have the option here to ungroup sheets. Alternatively, you could do select all sheets here if you need to select all sheets. The last one we have to look at, and what's really important as well, is often we're asked, how can we copy data from one spreadsheet to another? So this could be information or a whole sheet. So you could be wanting to move it to a brand new workbook so you could send it to someone else, or there's some information stored on one of your sheets in a workbook and you feel that'd be worth having in another workbook as well. So it could be a definitions page, or it could be anything. If you want to just simply move this worksheet to another or a new book, so let's go for a new book to start with. If you right click the sheet and then you go move or copy, what you can do is from this at the top here, where it says book number 1, that defaults to the current workbook you are in. If you were to select that and go to new book, then there'll be no sheet information here. And you have the option here. So at the moment, it will move this sheet completely to a new workbook and will be removed from its current book. If I didn't want to do that, but I only wanted to create a copy, then you could tick this box and it would move. It would only create a copy. So it would still stay in this file, but it would also be created in a new file. So if you wanted to do that, should we just do move it completely to a new book? All you do is click OK. You can see a new book has now been opened up. So we're now in book number 2, and we can see our rename 1 sheet, number 2 here. We can see that we've got now 2 instances of Excel, and if we go back to our starting point, we can see that that sheet we've moved has completely removed from this sheet altogether. The last one, just to show you with that as well, is because we've now got a second book open, this will work quite well. So we can see book number 2 here. If we go into book number 1 and we decide, okay, we also want to move this sheet titled New Sheet to that book number 2. In order to do that, if we right click it, move or copy, what we now have is this drop down is now going to list all the worksheets we have open. So as we know, the highlighted one is the default one, is the current workbook we're in. We've got the option here in brackets to do a brand new book altogether, or we can see that we have our newly created book number 2. So if it would being saved and there's a file name, it would actually say the file names here rather than just book 1 or book 2. So currently we're in book 1 and we've got a new sheet highlighted, and we want to move that to book number 2. So we just select from our drop down book number 2, and we can now see our other sheet available in there, our rename one we just put in there. And you can select that if you want to enter the sheet before your existing one, or you could just have it moved to end. It doesn't really matter too much. If you select OK, you can now see that new sheet has now moved to book number 2. And if we go back to our book number 1, we can see it's now gone. So we're just left with just rename one there being the only sheet. And I think probably the last tip we have, having just come to mind, if we go back to book number 2 where we've got more than one sheet, if you have a number of sheets in your workbook and you suddenly decide that you wish to change the order of which sheets are showing in, what we can do is we've got a real quick tip is you can simply, let's just add some more sheets, say that rename number 1 over here. Actually, we don't want it to be at the beginning, we want it at the end. All you need to do is click and hold, and then you can drag that sheet to wherever you wish it to be. As simple as that, towards the end, or you could even put it towards the middle, like so. Okay, so that is a quick little introduction and going through managing and working with sheets within a workbook. We hope you found that really useful, and to those guys who had sent us emails and asked us questions about it, I hope that answers all your questions. If there are any questions still outstanding, drop us a comment below this video, or you've got also the links in the description for this video for our Facebook and our website, so you can get in contact with us there if you'd prefer. Also, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that bell notification button so that YouTube notifies you as soon as we bring out any new videos. At the moment, we're trying to do videos every Tuesday, Thursday and at weekends. So the next video coming after this will be Saturday and Sunday. So not before, we will see you in those videos, and thank you very much.